So welcome back, everyone. It's been a minute since I've did this podcast, but I decided to bring it back a little bit, and I got a very special guest, Mr. Gem Mint Collectibles, over here. So welcome in.
What's going on? DJ Matty Ice with your boy Gem
Yeah,
Mint. What's the deal?
yeah, yeah. So it's like, I just thought I'd bring this back, and I thought you'd be a fun guest, just because I feel like just watched you for a long time since like 2019, 2020. Like with the whole pandemic, I was like that you kind of helped me get through that. So I was like, you know what? Let's try and get you on. Like I definitely asked a few times. I feel like, but
Really?
yeah, probably. But
I appreciate you asking me. And yeah, man, those were great times for like YouTube content. As crazy as everything else was in the world at that time, everybody was home. Everybody was getting back into like collecting and nostalgic stuff. The MCU was doing great at the
yeah,
time, so it was definitely a fun time for like comic book content.
yeah, it was. And like even now, it's just I've noticed like I've been watching your videos more recently, and like I think like that you and like some other people I've noticed like are kind of getting back to that older content, which I love because it's like, I'm a little nostalgic for that 2020 content when there was nothing
Yeah,
else to do.
man.
But
Yeah, no, it feels good to get back. I mean, I think somewhere along the way, I kind of lost my way, man. It kind of got like, I don't know, if I was trying to be more professional and working with companies, thinking I needed to be something that I wasn't. And it took a little while, but finally realized, why people started watching in the first place, and I'm finding my way back to that. So I've been having a lot of fun over the last couple of weeks doing this.
yeah, it definitely has been fun watching, and but yeah, and all the drama, which I don't think we're going to get too much into it, just because so I try to keep this drama free because it's like you never know with the internet. It's just you say something
Ah,
wrong, like
I think a lot of that helped me find my way back. A lot of
yeah,
the criticisms, which I found a lot of truth in, and then a lot of like negativity, which had didn't have a lot of truth in it, really making me want to start fighting back, which is something that I didn't do over the last couple of years. Again, I don't know if it was because I was wanting to be extra professional, or if I was worried how it would affect other people, or relationships with companies. But something clicked, and I'm like, man, fuck all that.
yeah,
Like, especially when people are talking out their ass and it's not even true. So I'm like, you know what,
yeah.
fuck that. You come at Gem Mint in 2024, 2025, be ready because I'm coming right back.
Yeah, so it's the revenge tour for you a little bit, just like the revenge or comeback tour of Gem Man over here.
Yeah, I guess yes. It's going back to classic Gem, putting some weight back on, getting back to the basics,
Yeah,
and yeah, classic Gem is coming back for sure.
yeah, there you go. But yeah, so yeah, and then yeah, that's pretty cool though. And then also like just I don't know, seriously, I just think it's cool. Or first of all, congrats on 100K, which I know that happened a while ago. I don't think I said anything, but like it's kind of cool to see your journey from where you started versus where you are
Yeah.
now. So,
Mhm. We just hit 160K
oh,
actually
you
yesterday.
did? You just hit
Yeah,
160?
we've had a little bump in subscribers, and the thing about subscribers, it's a cool milestone, especially when you hit 100. But really, bro, like YouTube doesn't reward you based on your subscribers. Like the epiphany that I had recently. First of all, I'll never ask somebody to like a video again or ask them to subscribe. Bottom line, if somebody's watching your video and they like the video, they're gonna like it. If they
Yeah,
like you, they're gonna subscribe.
yeah,
But YouTube doesn't reward subscribers. You could have 160,000 subscribers, but that doesn't mean you're going to get anywhere near that amount of views on your next video.
yeah,
It really depends on how broad of a topic. Like, for instance, like if I do a beef video, it's going to get a lot of views because the majority of the people subscribe like me. But if I put out an omnibus video, it's kind of like, all right, I'm already excluding people that are here for statues, people that are here for Berserk, people that are here because they saw a top 10 video I did, and it gets niche, so niche. The more honed in you get onto a certain topic. And I think again that's why drama does so good because the majority of the people that are subscribed like you, so
yeah,
that's why they're here. So if you do a beef video, they're going to want to check that out. Whereas the more you narrow the focus of that video down, the more people you're going to lose.
yeah,
But I try not to get hung up on that as far as views are concerned, and even with the live shows. At the end of the day, if we're having fun, if I'm making a video that I'm passionate about, something that I'm genuinely interested in, it's worth it. The numbers will even themselves out. anyway. It doesn't necessarily matter, but the subscriber count is kind of like a cool nod, but it's not. It doesn't guarantee that those people are going to watch your videos. I guess
Yeah.
is the point I'm trying to make. You know?
Yeah, so I mean, like I think that's something I've been trying to kind of do because like back when I first started back in like 2021, it was like, oh, I'm gonna do nothing but like comic unboxings, manga unboxings. It's because I was like, oh, I want the views, but I'm like, I'm not happy doing this all the time. So now I'm trying to, in the past year, trying to expand my content to do like a podcast interview, to do movies and music,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah, I think that's the best bet. Just do what you like, and hopefully that shows through the camera, and then you find like-minded people that like the same stuff, and then that's how you kind of build a following up. But yeah, you don't have to feel like forced in a box of I have to just do this or have to do that. My whole channel was built off of the fact of being a variety channel, especially at the time where you had omnibus channels, you had statue channels, you had weekly comic channels. And I just was like, I like all that stuff. So I'm just going to make my channel all of those things into one. And that really wasn't being done at the time.
yeah. Oh, I agree though. I mean, like I think when I was getting into the whole omnibus scene, well, first of all, I got it because of you. I'm not gonna lie, but
No, appreciate it.
so like I didn't really notice that many people doing a whole bunch of things like you were at the time. So that's why I thought you were cool at the time because you were trying to do a lot and doing your weekly comic review series where you got all the early copies and did reviews, and I always enjoyed that. And you know,
Yeah, and I think I got really lucky that at the time, like I said, we had great movies with the MCU.
yeah,
We had the pandemic happen where everybody was at home, but also the omnibus format wasn't as popular. Statues were not as popular as they would get. So I kind of got into it like at the perfect timing.
yeah.
I was saying this yesterday. I was talking to somebody, and it was like, man, just so many things aligned for me to do this that I just got super lucky at the same time, man.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, like I mean, like, yeah, I think there was a lot of people that got lucky at that time were doing stuff just because again, like as you said, like people were just staying home. It's like, well, what else am I gonna do? So yeah,
And everybody had a little bit of extra money. A lot of people had these stimulus checks and were
yeah,
still working from home
yeah,
and had money to spend on eBay or whatever, and like, start getting nostalgic, especially because you can't, first of all, gas was super cheap. You couldn't spend money anywhere because you couldn't go anywhere.
yeah,
So everybody was just online watching shit and then buying cool shit that they've seen other people have online. It was just
yeah.
this perfect storm of like collectibles and shit.
Oh yeah, no, that's what happened to me. Like I spent way too much money on like Basook and like all the Basook Deluxe editions and like just all that stuff. I was like, yeah, it's crazy.
I'm looking at it right now, the Berserk Deluxe editions. It's so
Yeah.
crazy that they actually caught up with the whole run, except for I haven't been caught up with the new stuff that Kentaro Miura's students have been doing. I know they've been releasing chapters, but I don't think any I don't know if any soft covers have come out with that material
No,
yet.
so see, I think they did one,
Mm-hmm.
maybe like one soft cover, and that was it. But I mean, the same boat as you. Like, I did all the dollar, like all the hard covers, and I
Yeah,
just haven't been able to catch up with the like
because
chapters.
they must have come out with volume 42 then. The hardcovers collect 3 volumes each, so it's going to
Yeah,
be a minute, I guess, before we get the next hardcover, if they even continue with that.
yeah. Well, actually, another question. So see, I just like collecting the Finland Saga hardcovers. Have you been trying to keep up with those?
Which ones?
So the Finland Saga, so it's like the Fian,
Oh no,
yeah.
I just have the first volume. I actually really intend to start reading that one right now. I think they've already got 3 volumes out though, right?
Yeah, yeah. So
I know.
it's like that just reminded me because I have to pick my next one up because it's been sitting at the
Uh,
comic shop for a month now. So I was like, oh, I got
it's been calling me. Me and my wife right now are reading though Fantastic Four Volume One.
okay.
Maybe I'll start reading Vinland Saga while she has the book because we both read like the first 5 issues, and now I'm waiting for her to like start reading again. If I go too far ahead of her, she'll give up and she won't keep reading. But
Yeah,
and I want to do the reviews with her because I think they'll be really fun. Um, so yeah, that's one that I've been eyeballing. That
it,
Vinland Saga hardcover, beautiful book too.
it is, and actually that reminds me, I gotta do my Hickman Fantastic Four Omni because I bought it when it was on sale, and then I was like, oh, I'm just gonna read it when I get a chance, and 2 months later, it's still looking at me. So
Who you talking to? I already know. I got books on there I bought with the intention to read years ago, But Hickman, I did read both of those volumes and his Avengers, and they're great runs, great reads as well, especially leading up to they're going to probably do this in the movie. So I think it's good to kind of read that beforehand and see what they end up doing.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it should be interesting. But, yeah,
What you,
but also, is there any new comics or new omnibuses or new statues that you might be looking out for in the next year or two?
yeah, looking forward to the DC Marvel Amalgam Universe omnibus that's coming out soon. That's shit that I grew up with. That's what I'm looking forward to as far as omnis. As far as statues, man, there's a lot of great stuff coming out from Sideshow. I'm really looking forward to their Ghost Rider maquette. I think it's a maquette. It might be a premium format, but that should be shipping soon because they just recently did the out of the box video for it. And I just talked with LBS, Legendary Beast Studios, trying to get them to send me the Spider-Man and Venom prototypes, man. They sound like they might send them, kind of like how I got the Superman back
Oh
here.
yeah,
Those pieces are incredible, 1/3 scale. I was just actually showing them off on a live stream that we did this morning. What is today? Tuesday, August 13th.
yeah,
So, I've been talking with them. A lot of great stuff coming out. We've had a very slow year as far as statues are concerned. Like all the companies kind of fell back a little bit. I think they had to recalibrate what they were doing. And there's a lot of great reveals and pre-orders that have gone up that we'll see shipping, towards the end of the year and into 2025. So I thought the hobby was in a really bad space about 6 to 8 months ago, but I feel like we're actually getting into a good place now. So a lot to look forward to.
yeah. I mean, so hopefully it's a good future, just because again, like, just like watching all these videos and trying to keep up with like what's coming out, and like there wasn't anything that I feel like too crazy or like a lot of crazy stuff in the past few months. So like, I'm kind of happy about that, and plus, so I like to the five curiosity like through all these YouTubers that get these statues because I can't afford them or have
Uh,
space for them. So I like seeing people open up too. So and seeing statues.
no, sometimes, yeah, I hear that a lot, that people will live vicariously through the videos. It is a very expensive hobby. It's more expensive than it's ever been, too, man. So that kind of sucks that it's hard to kind of get into the statue game now. I always like the fact that the omnibus you can buy for, discounted when they're brand new. You can go to one of these online retailers and they're like 40% off, which is what I always thought it was such a great buy to be able to buy those books under cover price, brand
Yeah.
new.
Oh yeah, and
You
it's
know,
just, I love those guys. So it's like GP from like Organic Post books,
yeah,
I love
organic
him.
price books, like they sponsor the channel, and that's where I get all my stuff from. And yeah, heavily discounted when it's in stock.
Yeah. And then that there's what's like in stock trades is also another one I think that has a lot of
Yeah,
discounted.
yeah, that's the OG. That's who I used to get all my stuff from. The thing about organic price books is the owner, JP, he reached out to me and he said he started that company inspired by my channel and making the hobby fund itself and getting into the omnibus stuff. And then he looked into it and figured out how to, get an account with it was probably Diamond at the time, and now I think it's Penguin Random House and Lunar. And
Yeah.
he started the company. So that's why he reached out to me. He wanted to sponsor me, which is basically that just like any book I want, just let him know and he'll send it.
Yeah.
And I'll just promote, organic price books in the video. So I'm fortunate enough to where I don't have to really buy the omnibus
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
Which is cool. But
IGP was my sponsorship.
oh
Since I
yeah, see,
definitely need yeah.
he gives out and he'll work with a lot of channels. I know he's
Yeah.
worked with quite a few people.
Yeah, okay, there you go. But
Yeah.
there's been a few people where it's like I'll get in contact with them about something like, hey, that do you want to like a sponsor? And it's like, oh yeah, sure. And then like I'll go deep into the product. I was like, I don't think I would want to promote this at all.
Yeah.
And that's just, personally, it's just like, personally, I would want to like have a sponsor that like I use and that I actually enjoy. I don't
Well,
know.
that's
That's
how I
just
look at it. I never wanted to pick up a sponsor that was something completely unrelated to the content. I've always tried to make it within the realm of comic books, whether it's organic price books or even that Spider-Man booth or even with whatnot. I was like, at least it's all under this umbrella of comics. And
yeah,
it's not like, all right, before we get into this omnibus, let's talk about your VPN network. Like I always thought that was kind of weird. So
yeah.
I've always tried to keep the same when it comes to like sponsorships.
So it's like Raid Shadow Legends after, like, that's a big one I see a lot of. It's like, oh, let's, before we talk about politics, let's talk about weird saddle legends. It's like, oh, that doesn't add up, add up
Yeah, yeah.
to me.
I always thought that was kind of weird. Yeah. Or
Yeah.
like man, a lot of these bigger channels will do like Manscaped. I don't
Yeah.
know. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, that is a weird one too. Yeah, and then is there any more content that you like kind of wanted to go back to? Like, is there any more stuff you might be like, oh, I got the itch to go back and do?
The only thing I really want to get back, or not get back into, but I want to kind of do a lot of more gaming content because that's something that I legitimately like to do. I'm a platinum trophy hunter. I love to get platinum trophies on PlayStation Network. I'm on like 83 platinums right now. And my whole channel has always been the stuff that I'm into, things I like to collect, things that I'm passionate about. And I'm just as into that, if not more, than like collectibles. So I really want to figure out a way to maybe live stream the gaming and then maybe edit the footage into pre-recorded videos that kind of show my platinum run on the game. So that's something that I want to start doing that I'm not doing right now. As far as like stuff that I used to do, I mean, the only thing I used to do, a lot of the stuff that I used to do, I'm going to incorporate into our live streams. Instead of doing a Sunday live stream, I've decided to do a Monday through Friday live show. And anything that's kind of like not something I'm going to do a dedicated video for, we're going to do during the live stream, whether it's like a what's in the box, maybe a weekly comic book day review, because I only read a handful of titles, not even one handful of titles, in a month maybe. So that maybe even like trailer reactions, we could just do them live with people watching instead of just kind of doing a pre-recorded video. So I think all that kind of stuff is gonna fall into those live shows.
Okay. Okay, sounds good. And then how about any Comic Cons or conventions? 'Cause I know that you were big into that for a while. Are you planning on going back
The
sometime in the
only
future? Or...
Yeah, the only thing is I really liked doing the statue booth tours, but then like Sideshow doesn't do San Diego or New York anymore. They do their own sideshow con, which I could have gone to this year, but because we put the house up for sale and everything, I didn't want to travel. And like last year, New York Comic Con was like the worst New York Comic Con I've ever been to. Like I'm not a single issue or a key issue collector, so I'm really only there for like the statues and stuff.
Yeah.
But once we sell this house and we downsize, whoever's been following my channel probably is aware that we're going to be downsizing, uh, just to make uh just to make it easier to do this because this is all I do. I'm full time gentleman collectibles, and the overhead in this house is just too high. The point of buying this house and building this custom space was to help grow the channel, and it
Yeah.
didn't do that. So it's kind of like now we're paying for this house, and it didn't even do what it was supposed to do, and it's just too much overhead. So once we downsize, I'll probably hit conventions again because I'll have more breathing room, I'll have more capital, and I can move around a lot and try to get some cool content. So I'm not against it, but I just don't have any plans for this year to do any
Okay.
shows.
Yeah. Okay. But,
Yeah.
I mean, since I feel conventions are always tough. Since I know this year I did the Fan Expo in Philadelphia,
Mhm.
and I think again, like this might have been. I mean, since outside of like Hayden Christensen and Rosario Dawson, I think it might have been like one of the worst ones I've been to, just because they themed it all around Star Wars, and it was just a
Mm,
straight Star Wars theme. I'm like, so I like Star Wars, but not that like not to the point where it's
right.
like I'd be excited for it.
Yeah, me too. I'm not a Star Wars guy. Like I enjoy the lore and I've seen the movies and everything, but I'm not like really a Star Wars collector or anything like that. So
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, honestly, the only thing I try to do now is just go see the comic guys, whoever, just, just to talk to them and get a picture maybe or get an autograph from like all the comic guys, and that's about it
yeah,
at this point.
yeah. It is cool to see the creators go down artist alley and stuff. But yeah, I'll probably do it again once we get settled in. I would like to go in with more of a clear cut content plan instead of just doing a tour. Maybe we try to do some fun stuff like hunting or like make it a mission to get signatures or remarks by certain artists or who knows, something
Yeah.
more focused and intentional. Especially because, like I said, the statue companies don't really show up anymore.
Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, like, I kind of wish they did because I think that, at least for me, even though I'm probably not going to buy too much from them, but it would be cool just to see if they had a couple displayed out somewhere. Be like, hey, like, check out our company. And it says like that's my opinion. So I kind of wish they had at least a couple out to show off like all the stuff they got. Like,
Yeah. I mean, and they did have like PCS was out there at San Diego, and so was Iron Studios. But yeah, no Sideshow, no Prime One, no XM Studios. So I mean, who knows? Maybe next year they'll get back into it. I don't know what's going to happen with New York, but again, New York is like right around the corner already. We're talking like 2 months, so I probably won't be there, but maybe next year we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and honestly, like I'm not even too sure who's going to be at the New York one this year. I just kind of just gave up on New York as a whole. Like that's I don't know. It's just,
Yeah,
yeah, I think that used to be such a cool place, and now it's like, oh, okay, it's New York Comic Con.
yeah, it's cool for creators though. They have a big artist alley in that like bottom, level there. It's
Yeah.
cool. But, yeah, and I love New York City too, so it's a shame. I would love to go, but we'll see next year probably.
Yeah. But yeah, and then but yeah, I'm actually just curious, have you met any of your favorite comic creators just through this YouTube or just
Yeah.
coincidentally or
Yeah, man. Like I met, first of all, meeting Kevin Eastman was super exciting, like co-creator of Ninja Turtles. Last year I got to meet Todd McFarlane and do like a quick interview with him, a couple of quick interviews. And that was really thanks to the channel and to Whatnot as well. We're able to hook that up. I think Todd McFarlane, that's like the pinnacle.
yeah.
And the night before that, we went to his party and Jim Lee was there as well. So it was
Oh,
kind
he
of like, yo,
was? Oh,
the biggest artists in this, living legends in the industry, Todd McFarlane and Jim Lee. I didn't get to really talk to Jim Lee though, but McFarlane I got to do those interviews with, and that was kind of like a bucket list moment.
yeah. But so I met Jim Lee, I think it was last year at Fan Expo, and it was like and this is no disrespect, no disrespect to him, but like he kind of just seemed like that when I was, once again, like he probably could have just been annoyed with me trying to talk to him, but he didn't seem like he was all there. Which again, probably was just me being annoying, but
He's
he,
also very mild mannered compared to
yeah,
like Todd, who's very extroverted and talkative, and
yeah,
he was into it because they were promoting the whatnot thing he was going to do, the whole buy the booth, so he was excited. Yeah, but Jim, he's kind of chill. Yeah, he's
yeah.
definitely way different.
So that like yeah, that's why I got talking to him because it's I talked to Frank Troy before that, and like Frank just seemed like such a nice guy and like just like to talk about comics and what's going on, and then going to Jim Lee, it's like oh, okay, what's he was such the opposite of that.
Yeah, it seems like he's more into the role of like president of DC rather than like Jim Lee the artist these days. That's at least the vibe that I get.
Yeah, and then actually talking about Frank Troy, I'm trying to get. So I know a guy who is friends with Frank Troy, so I'm trying to get Frank Troy on my podcast.
Like he must be funny as hell. I mean, just based on his art, I could see all the funny remarks he does. He must be a riot.
Yeah, yeah, he must be. So that's what my buddy says. That my buddy he's a tattoo artist. He was a comic artist for Marvel back in the 90s, and then he gave it up because like money and stuff. But that he said like that Frank Troy's such a nice guy, and like that Frank Troy just walked up to him one day. He's like, "Hey, that did you do comics?" He's like, "Yeah," and like that they've been friends ever since forever. And
That's
so
what's
yeah,
up.
yeah. Apparently that Frank's like a super nice guy, like behind the scenes. So
No, I bet that makes sense.
yeah, but yeah. And then is there any comic runs that you're looking at, or
What's
that like that? So is there any big comic runs going on right now that you might like that you might want to shout out? Be like, hey, that's a really good comic.
like the weekly comics?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I try to jump on, but I find myself never keeping up. Like I read TMNT issue 1, the Jason Aaron run, and maybe I'll try to keep up with that run. I didn't like X-Men 1, but I did like Uncanny X-Men 1. And I know that there's a lot of people talking about this. What is it like DC Absolute or something like that? Not the Absolute editions, but there's some kind of new DC Absolutely or something like that.
Oh, is it like the compact? Like,
I don't think it's compact. Oh, let me see real quick.
because I know
Uh,
that DC's been
come up.
doing those compact
I
versions of
heard about
books.
that too. Yeah, DC Absolute Universe, I think is what it is, and I haven't really checked this out.
Okay.
Yeah, DC's Absolute Universe. A lot of people are talking about this, but I haven't read any of this yet.
No, you haven't.
No.
But yeah, seriously, I've been trying to keep up. Seriously, I remember so that when they tried to bring back the Ultimate Universe, like I started to
Yeah,
do the Spider-Man,
me too. I
but
was reading it. I dropped off. Yeah.
yeah, same here. Yeah, same situation. Yeah, I got like 3 issues in. I was like, oh, this is kind of cool, and
Yeah.
then dropped it. And it seemed like the Black Panther and the X-Men one they did. I was like, okay, like
Yeah. I recently just got the trade paperback for Ultimate Spider-Man, so I'm thinking maybe I'll try to give it a reread because that was the one that I liked the most. X-Men was kind of unique and it was different than I thought it was going to be. But Black Panther felt like to me just like a regular Black Panther run, it didn't feel that different, whereas Spider-Man felt really different.
Yeah, I
Um,
agree.
so I might try to get caught back up with Ultimate Spider-Man. I think the trade probably collects the first 5 or 6 issues or so.
Yeah. Okay, now I agree with that. So see, I feel like I tried, like I read the first two issues of Black Panther. I was like, I'm not a huge fan. Like it feels like pretty much almost every other one I've read. And then X-Men, I enjoyed a little bit. I just kind of just dropped off. It's got busy
Yeah,
with other stuff. But honestly, I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's some good stuff coming out, I feel like, but like you kind of have to look for it sometimes, I feel like.
yeah, it could be a lot to weed through. I read that Venom War issue 1. It was okay, kind of like a jokey kind of wrestling themed book, but it had some serious tones as well. I have issue 2 on that I want to check out and read, and I'm going to give X-Men #2 a shot because I really like Ryan Stegman, but that issue 1 just didn't feel like a good jumping on point for me. It just kind of felt like more of the same that we've had with the Krakoa era,
Yeah.
and I just wasn't interested. But I might check maybe right after this. I'll check them out real quick and
Yeah.
see what they're all about.
But so I mean, like that's why I didn't pick up the newer X-Men stuff because the whole Krakoa stuff that happened. Because like I
Yeah,
tried getting into that, I was like, I don't know what's going on. Like for me, it was a little just that they tried to bounce from place to place too quick, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna skip this one and just
yeah. I think X-Men 1 was kind of like just a direct continuation of that. Uncanny X-Men 1, it still continues from the fall of Krakoa, but it still felt like more of a jumping on point. Like, okay, we're with Wolverine, Rogue, and Gambit. Nightcrawler comes along. We're kind of finding out, are we even the X-Men anymore? Where do we go from here? And then they have like this new reason to be a team. And it seems interesting enough. Gail Simone is a great writer. She really loves these characters. Been a huge comic fan forever. So it's refreshing to read them from that perspective of somebody that really loves and knows what to do with the characters.
yeah. But it's actually talking about X-Men. Did you see the new Deadpool and Wolverine movie?
Of course, man, I loved it. I'm a
Yeah.
sucker for fan service movies. Like, give me all the cameos, give me all the Easter eggs.
Yeah.
I love how self-aware they were about the low point that the Marvel universe is in, quoted from the movie. Like
Yeah.
people telling you, "Hey, you finally got into the MCU. You kind of came in at a low point, but you're here nonetheless." So
Yeah.
I'm excited for the future of the MCU. Hopefully, they learn from their mistakes and bring themselves back to the basics and just make movies that fans want to see.
Yeah, I mean, like I do agree. So I think that's like really kind of lost touch. And plus, like all the content they tried putting out, like all the TV shows and movies they put out the past 4 years, it's where it's like okay, like that maybe try to work on that movie a little bit longer, or maybe don't put out as many, like
Yeah, or let's stick to titles that people really want to see. Man, people want to see X-Men. They want to see Spider-Man movies. Like they try. I feel like as good as Guardians of the Galaxy was, it was kind of like uh, a shot in the foot because now they think that they can make anything pop, and it's like, nah, man. Eternals is not popping. Shang-Chi is not popping.
yeah,
The She-Hulk show, like all these things, they took chances on that didn't pay off for them. I would rather them just stick with shit, that the fans actually want to see.
yeah. I mean, and it's like don't get me, so see, I love stuff like She-Hulk, and like I love some of this stuff, but it's like insane see, but like sometimes it's not always going to translate to a big screen, like
Right,
people think it will.
right,
And but and plus, that dude's not as popular as again as a Spider-Man or the Avengers or the X-Men.
right. Right.
So
And I'm not saying that every movie can be Spider-Man, but I mean, they got a big toy box of characters that they can pull from now, especially with having all the mutant stuff. So, hopefully, like I said, hopefully they course correct and they start just putting out better movies and getting people excited again. Because when the movies do bad, it affects everything.
yeah,
The MCU is what got a lot of people back into the hobby. And it's sad to see so many of them leave because they're turned off by the movies or by the modern comics and
yeah,
the economy. And it's like, all these things are leading people to not be in the comics and collectible
yeah.
space anymore. So the
Yeah, I mean
movies
that.
doing well will trickle down to everything else.
Yeah, I mean there's been times where it's like so see, I got into comics because of the movies. Because like, I remember going to see Iron Man when it first came out. I was a little kid, and I was like, oh, I love it. So,
Yeah,
and then that got me into it. And these past couple of years, I'm like, I don't, I'm not interested in as much, I feel like anymore. But with
yeah,
like some of these new movies, like the Deadpool movie, I'm like, okay, I'm super interested again. Because again,
yeah,
it's super like fan servicey, which I love. So I loved all the cameos. I love that they can make fun of themselves,
Yeah, me
like in the
too.
process. So
Yeah, it sounds like we have similar tastes, man. So I agree with you. Like I wasn't excited for a lot of the stuff. I was excited for Deadpool and Wolverine. I wasn't excited about Captain America: Brave New World, but now the incorporation of Red Hulk and making him like a big threat in that movie makes me more excited. And then now you got Robert Downey Jr. as Doom.
yeah,
We knew about Secret Wars. I think that's going to lead up to a nice big end game level movie that I'm looking forward to. Hopefully, they really slow play Doom and Galactus and build up the threat similar how they did with Thanos and
yeah,
give us another good like 10-year run, man.
yeah, and like against just and not do what they did like right after Endgame's. Just like I think after Endgame, they like, well, our big event ended, so that we're gonna try to put out content because like and like try and make sense. But so see
Yeah,
again, like as you said, I think that you do a slow boom, just like a couple movies a year or like a show or two a year, maybe they could build it up to like this big thing like
yeah,
Thanos was. So
yeah, exactly. Like they can just tease Doom and Galactus in the Fantastic Four movie. He doesn't need to be the villain. Like we've seen that twice already. So I hope they. I'm pretty sure they're going to play that different leading up to Avengers Doomsday. They'll probably lead up to the multiverse incursions, like we got Hickman's Avengers, which will all culminate in Secret Wars, and maybe we'll get Doom turns into God Doom, and we get that whole storyline. So there's a lot of things to look forward to. They still have yet to reveal live action Miles Morales. I think we will definitely have that by the time Secret Wars comes out, and I think that'll be exciting for a lot of people. So
yeah,
yeah, there's definitely a lot of potential for the MCU moving forward. So they have, we have some light at the end of the tunnel when it comes to that as well.
yeah. I mean, like so like even that whole Miles Morales that's been kind of a topic because I remember I think it was No Way Home. I think it
Yeah,
was that they kind of hinted a little bit. It's like, oh, that this could be, like his dad or his uncle, or whoever.
yeah, his uncle, I think it was Prowler, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, so they kind of teased Uncle Aaron, I believe his name is. So yeah, I think they're definitely planting the seeds for that.
yeah. Which again, like which I love. So see, I think that there's only been like three really good movies the past couple years, and that's Deadpool, the Guardians movie, and then Spider-Man. Which I'm gonna put Deadpool number one just because, probably just because it just came out, but
Yeah,
that's
no, I feel you. I think it's on par with Spider-Man: No Way Home as far as the fan service. Both of them had kind of shaky stories, but it was just kind of like course correcting. Um, I would love to see Sony pick up Spider-Man 4 or Amazing Spider-Man 3. You get those rumors about continuing the Tobey or the Andrew Garfield movies. But yeah, I think it was just like a lot of giving fans what they want, making just cool, fun shit, and boom, $1 billion at the box office. Both
yeah,
movies.
yeah. I mean, yeah, I agree. I mean, there's not much. So I think I can't add more. Just make it fun and like people will come see it. Because I think that sometimes they try to put a message in there and try to force that message down, and it's like that's not going to go over well with a lot of people.
Yeah,
So see, I always think of
you just got to make it fun. Just make it cool, make it fun, make it entertaining, and you'll make a lot of money.
yeah, yeah, true. I mean, like I always go back to the original Doom from like 2005 with Dwayne Johnson in it, where it's
Oh yeah,
like, well, is it the best movie ever? No, but like I just have so much fun with it. I can't help but like it, just because it's like it's got that video game at like feel to it. If that makes
yeah.
sense. Like,
I'm a big Doom fan actually. You said Doom, right? Like Doom.
yeah,
Yeah, because and then now they just kind of announced those remasters of one and two.
yeah.
Crazy, man. That's like the first PC game I ever saw in person, like real PC game, not like Oregon Trail. But I think you're younger than me, so you might not even know about that.
See, listen, so I used to play that back in like elementary school. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
so I'd speak, oh, okay, do you work online? Right? And like all of us, if you like in the back, it's oh, let's put on like Oregon Trail and just play that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, man, we used to play their shits on the big black floppy disks.
Yeah. I mean, for sure. I mean, there's definitely a lot of fun stuff I think coming out soon, like in terms of movies with Marvel. And then how about DC? So, I think we haven't really talked about DC movies. So, see, how do you feel about the whole James Gunn taking over the universe and doing his thing?
Yeah, I mean, I think they picked a good person. He's shown that he's able to make good comic book movies for both Marvel and DC. I don't love what I'm seeing from the set of Superman as far as all the costumes and the Green Lantern stuff. It doesn't look that good, but Hopefully, it looks way better when it comes to production. I'm not excited about Creature Commandos. I don't even know who the hell they are, but I'm gonna give him a chance. He has a huge opportunity to really pull forward and put the DC movies in the forefront, or at least make them successful. So I'm going to give him a chance. Not super excited. It's a little convoluted. Now you still got the Matt Reeves universe going on. You still got the Joaquin Phoenix Joker universe going on, and then you got James Gunn. So they're kind of all over the place. I kind of think it's weird that Avengers used the name Doomsday when that's such a classic Superman villain name. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it a chance. I don't have high expectations, which is good because maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, that's what I tried to do with a lot of movies. It's like I kind of just try and come in just like with no expectations because I feel like that those kind of ruin stuff for people, and like at least for me, and like I try not, and like at least for me too, I try to not to listen to people and like hype it up just because I think if I listen to the hype, I'm gonna be disappointed in the end. So like so like I tried to go with no expectations, just to see how it is.
Yeah, that's the best way. I did have high expectations for Deadpool and Wolverine, and luckily they met the expectations. But I kind of thought they would. I really trust, Sean Levy and Ryan Reynolds to be comic accurate and to be for the fans. And it really did show through that movie with all the cameos, all the fan service, and everything, all the homages to comic book covers and
Yeah.
scenes.
Yeah,
So
that was so cool. I thought like that very beginning, like when he was times skipping through all the universes. I thought that was really cool. And you
yeah,
got to see like the like took the old man Logan, and then like you got to see like Cavalry. You got to see
yeah.
him. Like that was a pretty cool scene.
Like accurate Wolverine, Weapon X, Age of Apocalypse
Yeah,
Wolverine, the whole 340 cover with Hulk and Wolverine,
yeah,
the tan suit. So yeah, they did a lot of those kind of Easter eggs. Wolverine being crucified on the X and in the pool of skulls. So
yeah,
a lot of that shit was just straight fan service, man.
yeah.
That's
Well,
what makes it fun about knowing the material before you go into the movies because you're like the Leonardo DiCaprio meme. You're like, oh,
yeah,
I
that.
knew that.
Yes, see, I went with my dad, so my dad likes watching some of these, but like, like at the end, he's like, I couldn't follow all these cameos that would happen. I was like, because like he would hear me say something, and he's like, who's that? I was like, oh, that's like from this little thing or that, it's like a tiny little thing, like, and then plus Gambit, I thought Gambit was really cool too, like,
It was kind of similar to the Nick Cage Superman cameo in The Flash. It's like you would have had to know that Channing Tatum was trying to play Gambit in the movie for years.
it,
Like knowing that lore and then seeing it on screen is like it's so rewarding. Whereas if you didn't know that, you're just like, all right, who is this fucking guy playing Gambit? But like, there's
it,
levels of nuance to it that makes it fun as a fan. And that's what was always fun about the MCU. Oh, they're teasing the Avengers. Oh shit, Nick Fury. Like
it,
knowing a little bit of the backstory and the source material and kind of trying to connect those dots before the movies come out. That's what made the MCU a lot of fun.
yeah, for sure. I mean, so you got, like, that's why I'm happy that like this one kind of went, I forget what we were talking.
Answer the thing anyway.
I forget what we were just talking about. So it's like for those who don't know that I assume media just got cut off. It
Yeah.
ended.
I think we were talking about your pops watching the movie and catching cameos, and we were kind of talking about that whole thing.
Oh yeah, that's right. So it's like every single time that we like that someone came on it, for the most part, he was like, wait, who's that? Or who's that? Like the only one he knew was like Wesley Snipes, like his,
Yeah.
like that. But
But
yeah, Blade. But by the way, he's like one of my favorite characters. I'm so happy he came back for this movie. So
hell yeah. Yeah, and it looks like they are pushing back the Blade movie with Mahershala Ali. So who knows? Maybe they're in negotiations with Wesley to do something. Maybe who knows? That movie has had some problems though, so we'll see what happens with it.
yeah, I mean, so see, I think there was a time where like he was gonna leave the movie or whatever, and then they
Yeah.
convinced him to come back, and then like
Well,
just
bro, I think they announced that movie in 2019.
yeah,
So it's like, bro, what the hell?
yeah. See, that was like Spider-Man 2, but I mean, granted, COVID kind of happened, but like Spider-Man took a while. I remember that too. The last one they made.
Yeah, No Way Home.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that was a good one, man. I like that. I like that one as well.
And then so again, like those cameos, I love just like Gambit. So I love seeing Gambit come back and like have Channing Tatum be Gambit and with that whole history of him trying to be Gambit, and then
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, that's what we were saying. Like, if you're following this kind of pop culture news, like you knew that was happening. So to see them, finally give it to the fans was cool to see. Even though there's a mixed feelings on whether or not he played a good Gambit or not. Some people love it. Some people thought he looked fat. He obviously is not fat, but he definitely doesn't have
yeah.
a Gambit face.
So see, I think it was because the mask, like, just the way the mask was, I think kind of made it look bigger than it was. Like,
His face is just not as lean as the comic version of Gambit, so it looked awkward. But like, if you see him in the test footage and stuff, he looks great. The
yeah.
moves he's doing and all that shit, it looks like he must have been doing his own stunts. It looked really good. It just that mask was definitely not flattering for him.
Yeah, no, for sure. But since I did see some stuff, like he did train at like a martial arts studio to get all the
Right. Yeah.
moves right, and like so I thought that was cool that he actually did put the time and effort in to make this character a good character, and then plus the
Yeah.
accent. So,
And apparently he's from New Orleans, and so he's familiar with the accent. So it sounded awkward, but I'm in the camp that's like maybe we don't need a Channing Tatum Gambit movie. Like
okay.
the cameo was enough.
Yeah, I mean, so I agree. So see, I feel like the cameo, like having him as a side character, I think would be better for him, not like a
Yeah.
whole movie
Yeah, yeah,
where
yeah.
it's like,
Even his dialogue was like, was he joking? Was it serious? It was hard to tell.
yeah. But I mean, so like even that, like I heard a lot of stuff about, that's a big debate if like his accent was a good accent or if it was a bad accent. So see, I think it was somewhere in the middle where like he
Yeah,
was trying to
it didn't
make it
make it sound
awful,
good.
like yeah, yeah. So like he just tried to make it sound weird or goofy, like have a goofy Cajun accent to him. So.
Yeah.
But, but honestly, I was kind of disappointed like Sabretooth, like his cameo. I was a little disappointed with because that was kind of too quick of a fight for me because it was like bang and that was it. Like
Yeah, and the Jennifer Garner cameo was kind of a waste. It would have been so much better to have Ben Affleck as Daredevil. That would have been
yeah,
fucking awesome.
yeah,
But I guess maybe he wanted too much money or something. Who the hell knows, you know?
yeah, yeah. Who knows? I mean, like that. Well, I know it's made a joke about it with Chris Evans. It's like that. This cost, like his cameo costed too much. Like
That was probably the best cameo though, man.
yeah,
Fucking Chris Evans as Human Torch again.
yeah. No, see, listen, that was great. So that was like an awesome
Yep.
cameo, and I guess it kind of makes sense with like them trying to do a new Fantastic Four movie. It's like, well, let's put at least one of the characters to rest. So then like it makes sense. Like,
Yeah, but it's hit so much harder that he plays Captain America in the MCU, and when you see him in the Void, you think maybe he's a Captain America variant, and then
yeah,
he takes off the cloak and is Fantastic Four, and it's like, oh shit, they did it.
yeah. I mean, so I mean, that was like one of my favorite parts where Deadpool was like a phones was like, as he was about to see a phones disassembled. That's when he did the flames on and like did his thing.
Yeah,
But
it definitely tricked me because, like, I don't know, I knew he played, Human Torch, but I just didn't think they were doing it, and I definitely thought they were setting up the Avengers Assemble, and he said "Flame On." I was like, no way, they did
yeah,
that.
I mean, so it took me a second because like I saw like the top of his thing. I was like,
Yeah,
wait, I was like, wait, is that the Fantastic Four uniform? Like
yeah.
uniform? Like that was something that they brought him back for like just for this one thing.
And then even the end credit scene with he really was saying all that shit that Deadpool said he was saying.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy, man.
So that was like the best part too. Is like that they did a post credit scene just for that, just to prove
Yeah,
that he was talking shit.
yeah,
I don't know.
yep,
So see, because like I went from being really sad, because at least so like the whole X-Men thing, I was like, oh, I'm sad, and they did that. I was like, oh,
yeah.
like
Yeah, but it was definitely to that your point, like the end credits, like the credit scene. It was definitely the whole movie was a love letter to the pre-MCU movies and the Fox universe and stuff like that. Really, yeah, really just the Fox universe. There was no Sony Spider-Man stuff.
yeah,
So like you're watching that stuff, and you're like, damn, Hugh Jackman. I remember watching X-Men 1 in the movie theater. I don't remember him looking that young. It's so crazy
yeah,
to see that old footage and stuff. But man, the X-Men movies were so convoluted, man. And then you had the old X-Men team, then the new X-Men team, and like
yeah.
it would be a fun watch through to do it again. But it was just all over the place, man. Like
Yeah.
X-Men comics, I guess.
Yeah, true. I mean, it does fit with the comics, but again, like so see, I sort of wish they did like an old school. I mean, this is probably just me, but do like an old school Stanley. type of thing where it's like the basic costumes and it's like it's them just starting out like it's Beast, Cyclops, Angel,
Yeah.
Iceman, all of them. Personally, I think that'd be cool, and like you get to see the intro to like Magneto and
Well, it looks like they're going to do that with Fantastic Four, right? Set in the 60s, giving you the retro vibe. So who knows what they'll do with X-Men? I mean, I'm sure that they'll have something like that in the movie. I would bet that we'll see the original costumes in that movie, some way, shape, or form.
yeah. But it's, again, I'm super excited for that one, and I'm happy that they got a good cast with Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Joseph Quinn, and oh my God, like who's the guy that's playing? I'm forget. Yeah, I'm forgetting the other guy now.
I don't know. I didn't really like the casting. I know everybody loves Pedro Pascal, but I just think the whole cast kind of doesn't really look the part to me. So I don't know.
Okay. Oh
We'll
yes,
see.
just yeah.
Hopefully, they'll pull it off and it'll be cool. But I don't know.
I do agree with like Pedro Pascal a little bit. Like he definitely doesn't fit like that Reed Richards look at all.
Yeah.
Like, but I'm excited because I think he's a good enough actor. He can maybe pull it off. Like,
Right. Yeah. The acting skills will top it all. So, he'll probably make it believable. Thing, we haven't seen him as the Rock form yet. So I guess it
no,
doesn't really matter what Ben Grimm looks like. I'm reading the old comics now, and Ben Grimm doesn't necessarily look like a big lug. He kind of looks like a regular dude, too. So I think the actor will pull it off. I hope they pull off what he looks like as the Thing.
yeah. But so that's one thing I will say. So it's like I remember watching the first Fantastic Four movie for like the 2000s. And like that's what I always thought the Thing looked like was just like this big, like Ben Grimm like looked like was being like this big kind of just lug of a guy, like big dude. And
Right.
then yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, really, reading the original comics, he doesn't seem that big and burly as Ben Grimm before he changes.
yeah. But it's just
Maybe
again
later.
like yeah, but again, just hopefully they do it right because they've tried to do it two different times and both times failed miserably. Like
Yeah, but I enjoyed the movies for what they were. Well, the fan four stick, I never liked that movie. That movie sucks,
not
man.
now.
But the first two, like not the one from the '90s, but the first two, the regular one and the Rise of the Silver Surfer. That's all we had back then, bro.
Yeah,
Like I was cool with those movies. Chris Evans, Human Torch, fucking Jessica Alba, Sue Storm. Like
yeah.
that shit was cool, man.
See, listen, Jessica Alba in that movie was definitely like one of my first crushes. I'm not gonna lie.
And
So
that's
see,
not really a good Sue Storm casting
no,
either. She doesn't look
no,
like the blonde woman from the '60s.
no, she doesn't. No,
Yeah,
I
but she
mean,
pulled it off.
yeah. And then, yeah, I mean, I don't know. So see, I definitely think that's just the time period where they just tried to come out with whatever and just hoped it worked.
Well,
Like,
back then they never used the source material for the most part. It just kind of was like the characters you knew, and they just made up a story for the movie, and you just rolled with it. Especially like early Batman movies and stuff. But the MCU, I really give them credit for being like, as close to the source material as you can get. Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire movies to some extent, but really, the MCU is what brought us those comic book movies to life. I feel like.
yeah. I mean, so see, I've been spoiled with Batman movies lately. Like, so the Batman with Robert Pattinson, and then the Ben Affleck ones. No, Ben Affleck was decent. It was okay. And
Yeah, I
then,
like that.
yeah. And then Christian Bale. I mean, like, like he was my first Batman was Christian Bale. So,
Yeah. My first one was Michael Keaton, but yeah, and then we had George Clooney, Val Kilmer. It didn't
yeah,
matter back then. They were just goofy, fun movies. And I like the Christian Bale movies. I like Batfleck. They kind of given us so many Batmans that to me it's not even as important as like Robert Downey Jr. being Iron Man or
yeah.
Hugh Jackman being Wolverine. It's like anybody can be Batman. We've seen so many already.
Yeah, and honestly, that's almost like Spider-Man too. I mean, like there's been like what three different Spider-Man in the past 20 years.
Yeah, three major live action Spideys,
Yeah,
and I always liked Toby was always the best, like all around. I liked Andrew Garfield as Spider Man. I didn't really like him as Peter Parker though.
yeah,
Also, the Toby movies are my introduction to live action Spider Man movies, so I guess I'm always gonna have a soft spot for him.
yeah. Same here. So see, like I think I'm always gonna like those ones more, just because I grew up with those ones.
Yeah,
And then so like the Amazing Spider-Man, I always thought like the first one was okay, like it wasn't like groundbreaking, but the second one I think was just so like kind of so bad that because he tried doing so much with like like was it like four different major villains in that movie. that they tried to do. Like,
But the first one had the whack costume. They got the costume right in the second one, but they tried to set up the whole Sinister Six, and they never even got the next movie. It was kind of like a big waste, you know?
yeah, and then these new ones I like a little bit, but like yeah, but like, I just like the Tobey Maguire's a lot more though. It has that charm to me of like the 2000s. Like,
Yeah, me too. I mean, Spider-Man always felt like he was in his own universe. I didn't really like the MCU version of Spider-Man where he was just like a sidekick in an Avengers universe, you know?
yeah, oh, yeah, no, I agree. And then so it's I like No Way Home, but I sort of wish it's like like now no one knows who Spider-Man is anymore, like Peter Parker. So like that includes Mary Jane and Ned. So I was like, okay, so it's like, where do we go from here? Like,
Yeah, right, exactly. Is there even going to be a fourth MCU Spider-Man movie? If they
yeah,
do it, I could see them doing the Miles movie before they do another Peter Parker movie.
yeah. So maybe that's how they set up the next Peter Parker Spider-Man is like that they deal with Miles Morales, and that's how they meet up whoever. And the next one's like a buddy, like like, I think almost like a buddy cop action movie, like.
Yeah, they'll probably do that, especially, I mean, that's where they're going with the video games. And I'm telling you, that's going to be a big part of Secret Wars. Miles was, I don't want to say he was all through Hickman's Secret Wars, but so I think they're going to make him a bigger role in the movies. So yeah, I can see them setting that up in a fourth Spider-Man movie for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like, so like especially with the two animated movies that they did with him, and like seeing how well those did, and then seeing the games and like how well the games did, like
Yeah,
it,
he's coming, bro. They got the third movie in the works for the animated movies. He's definitely coming to live action.
yeah, for sure. And then I mean, there's a few characters. So I know that Galactus technically was in an older movie, but so like, I'd love to see a updated Galactus and see what they do with
Oh yeah,
him.
he's coming too. I think they teased it at San Diego, like for those that were at Hall H.
Okay, so they
Yeah,
teased it, so it's like he's.
yeah, they're gonna have more of a comic accurate Galactus for sure.
But so that's definitely one I want to do, and then same with like Sofa Sufu, like I want to see him back in, just because like, I think that Rise of the Super Sufu movie was just not that great, and like that they could have done a better job with him. So
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully, I think that I like how they portrayed him, but the story was kind of whack. And the Galactus, they did the Galactus story, but it was just they didn't do it right. But I liked how they did Silver Surfer. I think the MCU Marvel Studios they'll probably learn from some of those mistakes when they introduce him. But who knows, man? They're talking about this whole Shala Ball is going to be Silver Surfer thing, so who knows what's going to happen? Really.
yes, so then like, I also saw like Julia Gardner might be a so like there's a ton of people I'm hearing like right now, so it's like who knows if they're gonna do a
The
male.
girl from Ozark is supposed to be Shala Ball.
Yeah, that's what yes, there you go. Yeah, so so that's Julia Gardner. Yeah. Wait,
Yeah,
no, is it Julia? Wait,
Julia Garner. Yeah, yeah, you're right.
yeah.
Huh.
Because she's going to be there. So, that should be cool, I think, to have her in it. But, like, I want the super though. Like, I want,
Yeah, people want Norrin Rad. They don't want to see a version that you've only seen like in a What If comic or something like that. You know?
yeah. I mean, so, like, even like the whole Doctor Doom was a big like,
Yeah.
so for RDJ, it's like, well, like, is he going to be Iron, like a Tony Stark variant that just so happened to be a Doctor,
Well, they say no, man. They say he's gonna be Victor Von Doom. He's
oh, yeah.
not a Stark variant. So I don't know how the hell they're gonna do that, bro. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
It sounds to me like it's gonna be a multiverse thing because again, Secret Wars has got to be incursions, and really the purpose of the Secret Wars Hickman comic was to end the Ultimate Universe and just have the Marvel 616. So it's got to be a way for them to destroy the multiverse. So it's got to be a multiverse where Robert Downey Jr. is just Victor Von Doom. And I
yeah,
guess that's it. Maybe there's no
yeah,
Tony Stark. Maybe he was supposed to be. Maybe he was given up for adoption by Howard Stark or something like that, and
yeah.
just to this villainous person because he had no family. That's probably the route they're going to go for that. I would think.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Like I'm definitely interested to see where they go with him as Doctor Doom, just because like he was already in the MCU, so like it's like well, like if he's back in it and like no one recognizes him, then what's going on? It's like,
Yeah, but I can see like him showing up from the different universe and the Avengers being like Tony, and he's like, "Who is Tony?" And then they fight. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
something like that.
yeah, for sure. I mean, honestly, I'm excited for the next couple years because again, Fantastic Four. I think I'm excited for that. 'Cause, like, I'm a big fan of Fantastic Four, and so I definitely want to get into the older stuff, like the old like '60s, '70s
Yeah, I'm reading that
styles.
right now. It stands up, man. It's fun to read that shit. I'm reading it right now.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so honestly, that's how I feel about like some of these older comics, like Golden Age and Silver Age. It's just like they're cheesy and like but like that's why I love them, because that they're cheesier than
Yeah.
like modern day comics. Like,
I recommend if you read via the omnibus, read the letters pages at the end of the issues, man. It's so funny. It's so eerie how similar they are to YouTube comments these days.
yeah,
And the way that the Stanley and them respond is funny. And you get the gist of why the comic was important at the time. At that time, superheroes didn't bicker and fight with each other. They got along and they were rich and they had big, strong chins. It's kind of the same reason why Spider-Man was popular. Really, they did it with Fantastic Four first. They made them relatable and they acted like regular people. And then Stan Lee would boast that it's the world's greatest comic right on top of the page. And like that was unheard of at the time. People would write in and be like, how could you say this is the world's best comic? What are you crazy? Like they were just doing things that were unheard of at the time. And that's how they gained popularity. And you see them teasing the Hulk
yeah.
throughout issue 3. Who is the Hulk? Just written on top of the page. So it's kind of funny to see their marketing schemes and how they grew the Marvel universe from Fantastic Four issue 1. I mean, that's the beginning of the Marvel universe. So
Yeah.
it's funny to go back and look at all that stuff and see where it came from.
Yeah, I mean, so see, I just recently did the first X-Men omnibus, like the Stan Lee one, and like again, like as you said, like the letter pages at the end, like I loved those,
Yeah,
and like just and it's just seeing like how they wrote the comics and like all the stuff that they would put in there. I'm like, oh, that's really fun. Like I just had a fun time with it. Just
yeah, yeah. I read that one years ago too, man. I feel like that doesn't hold up as well
yeah,
as Fantastic Four and Amazing Spider-Man. But I would like to revisit that. I really want to do an Uncanny X-Men read through. So that maybe that's something I'll do soon as well.
being as I agree, so I'm definitely trying to go back and read all the old X-Men stuff and to start from the beginning and be like, okay, I'm going to start from the first omnibus and then see. I wanted to get into Fantastic Four. It's just like I'm like, okay, what spot do I start in for them? Do I start in the very beginning or do I start the new one that's kind of standalone story? But
I mean, yeah, you can start either way. I mean, I remember reading the Hickman omnibus years ago, the 2 volumes, and now I'm reading the Silver Age. You can just, you'll be able to pick up wherever you jump on from for sure.
okay, there you go. Yeah, it's because like, some stuff, and then so this is where I kind of don't like comics a little bit. It's sometimes it's hard to follow what's going on because it's like, oh, if you missed this mini series from back like 20 years ago, like you're not going to know what's going on. Like,
Yeah, it's like watching the movies without having, read the comics or been in the know. You can enjoy it, but it's more enjoyable knowing all the nuances and the Easter eggs and the previous events that occurred. It makes it that much better.
yeah, so that's like so see, I'll go back to season 1 of Loki where they teased Thanos' helicopter from the comics. It's like, oh,
Yeah,
that's such a cool little Easter egg
exactly.
that they like.
Yeah, for
And then
sure.
again, just like some of those old Thanos comics too, I think are so funny. Like, that they arrested him with the cops who arrested him with handcuffs. It's like, well, like that's kind of just goofy, I think. But
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
yeah, yeah, it was nice talking to you. I know
Yeah,
this
man.
kind of abrupt end, so we got a good little like what hour in?
Yeah, I think so. I think we got some good convo going on there, man. A lot to look forward to in the future. Things are looking bright, knock on wood,
Yeah,
and I'm here for it. Hopefully, we'll be covering it on the channel.
hopefully, yeah. And then you can always come on again. You can always come on
Yeah,
if you want and
we'll have to check
talk.
in after some of these things come out and see if it panned out the way we thought.
Yeah, yeah. We just go back in time. It's just like, okay, what did we say?
Yeah,
That's what
exactly.
happened. Like, but yeah. So it was nice talking to you. So yeah, have a good day. So of course, been loving the content as
Appreciate
usual.
it.
So and then
Thanks
see
for
you
checking
later.
in, man. Thanks for having me on the pod. Thanks to
No
everybody
problem.
listening and watching.
All right. So see you then. See you later.
Peace.